All right. Well, welcome to episode 47 of JimRuta.com SOLIS, the School of Life Insurance Selling, and the first session in the SOLIS 2.0 reboot. I'm Jim Ruta, and I continue with my crusade to help you book more meetings and close more deals faster. Together, we can make history. Now, to kick off the new SOLIS, my guest is one of the very best branding experts in the world, in my opinion, and he's my friend Eric Feng from Singapore. I met Eric in Hungary last fall at the Budapest Life Insurance Summit and was very, very impressed by him, his style, and his advice. After a meeting over coffee, I was convinced that we had to feature him here on Solus. So, by way of introduction, Eric Feng is one of the world's most acclaimed motivational speakers, and I can vouch for that. He's number one but he's in branding and social media and has spoken to many thousands of people in 38 countries around the world, at least so far. He has at least 4 books. Known, loved, and respected, The Future of Selling, Get to the Point, and Unlock Your Personal Charisma, all of which tells us a great deal about what we can expect today. Eric has a sensible approach to branding and social media that doesn't require advertising and a lot of fluff. He really helps people go from a nobody to a somebody. And to me, this is exactly what today's life insurance professionals need to compete. More than that, we need rational advice from an engaging expert like Eric. So, welcome, Eric, and thank you very much for making the time. I know you're crazy busy, and I appreciate you taking the time to speak to Solus. We are recording this program at early morning Eastern time here, 7:30, I think, and some 8:30 p.m. Singapore time. So thank you for stretching your day for us. Now, before I get started, is there anything you'd like to say as an introduction to an attraction-based business?
No, I think you did an amazing job introducing me. I mean, I can't wait to hear what I have to say after your introduction.
Okay, so let's get right
Yeah.
to it. Eric, now you had a health scare in 2025,
Hmm.
and you say it changed the way you operate. You know, I too have had a health scare, not maybe about 15 years ago. It changed my life. But I'm wondering what you learned and how it changed the way you do things. And, is a health scare the only way to learn those lessons?
Ooh, yeah, yeah. It seems to be the typical narrative arc for a lot of people, right? The turning point is always either a death of someone or a near-death experience. But it kind of makes sense also, Jim, because it makes you question your existence and all of a sudden, if you realize that you have limited time on Earth, right, you start to ask yourself whether do you really want to continue to do the things that you have been doing, especially if the things that you're doing is not sparking joy for you, or worse, is actually causing you to feel depressed or burnt out. So I think that was my situation. I was quite a hustler. It was actually in 2024 when I had like stroke-like symptoms. Coincidentally, I text my insurance advisor. So I say, insurance advisors, financial advisors, they are saviors. They are unsung heroes. Like we don't even text our girlfriend or boyfriends. The first thing, first person we text is our financial advisor. So I text him, I say, oh my God, I don't feel so good. I think maybe I should see a doctor tomorrow. And then when he saw my symptoms, right, he immediately called me and said, I'm driving over to your house right now. I'm going to send you to see a specialist. You look like you're having a stroke. So of course that kind of shocked me, right? Because I felt like I was still young. I was only in my mid-40s. Well, the good news is that it wasn't a stroke, thank God. But the bad news is we found something in the heart. And therefore, either I live with it or I, do something about it. And obviously, I chose to just live with it because I kind of feel like maybe just call me dramatic, but I feel like, it's like a time bomb in us, and you never know when the time is up. And knowing that kind of make me feel like I want to change the way I do my things. So after I came back home, I took some time off. That was in late 2024. I started going for a number of retreats. Initially, it was mainly just to take a break, but eventually, it was to answer one existential question, which is why am I here for? What I really want to do with my life. And eventually, that took 1 year, actually, Jim. When you met me, I was halfway through asking that question. It was only in the late end of 2025, just a couple of months ago, where I
Yeah.
was very clear about what I want to do. And that very action I took was to delete everything on social media. Like I spent 7 years, 700 pieces of content. I decided to delete it because I felt like that was the old Eric, and I need to shed the identity in order for me to step
Wow.
into a new identity. Yeah, so that was what happened last year, late last year.
It's interesting. Interesting you say that. It's I had a heart problem myself. My heart stopped for about a minute. I was in church at
Oh
the time,
God. Oh.
I did have a, sort of uh, weird experience during that. I can tell you. But you're right. It gives you a limited amount of time to think. You think, is this? Am I doing the right thing? Is
Yeah.
this really me? If I die doing this, will I be fulfilled? I felt the exact
Yes.
same way. And it's nice and I think it's so important that you could say this to people, because I think we all ought to live like that. We hope to live forever, but it can go like this. And it
Yeah.
just happened to me like that in church. It happened to you. One minute you seem like you're on top of the world. The next minute, you could be 6 feet under. It's just a crazy thing. But I'm glad you shared that, because I think we all can learn from that lesson. Now,
Mm.
you talk a lot about superpowers, and I know that you talk about deepening relationships with existing clients,
Yes.
to get repeat business. Now, to
Yes.
me, this seems obvious, yet, but agents, financial people are always looking elsewhere for new business. What's your perspective on this relationship with existing clients?
I think at the end of the day, it's about first understanding human nature. That's the main thing. So it really doesn't matter whether you're a financial advisor or like us educators, we need to understand human beings. And the fact is, human beings are emotionally biased. We prefer to work with people that we love, that we respect. How we feel towards that person, determines how open we are to their influence. So I think that when an advisor is approaching their business, they want to make sure that they build sufficient trust with their customers. Why? Because trust then converts into sales, it converts into referrals, it converts into partnerships. And why is it getting more and more important today? Is because, in fact, just late last year, Elderman Trust Index was released. It's a global assessment to measure the general sentiments that people have towards businesses and politicians. And unfortunately, trust is eroding. People are getting more cautious, more skeptical. Scammers on the rise. In the world of finance, there's so much fine print, so many hidden clauses. Customers are extremely, extremely guarded. And therefore, in that kind of climate, the strategic action that every advisor and even us educator need to do is to build enough trust so that we can cash out. It's like what financial advisors will always tell me, right? They will say that, Eric, you need to save your money so that you can draw money out, right? You need to put money in a bank account and then you can draw money out. So again,
Right.
we need to build emotional equity with our customers so that we can draw out opportunities, and especially in today's season. And that's why I speak a lot about it. If you want to put a number to it, Google did a very extensive study about trust, and they concluded that today it takes 11 touch points across 4 locations in 7 hours for a person to buy something from you. Jim, that's a lot. I mean, I'm very sure a decade ago, all we need is just one cup of coffee, a person would trust you. But today it takes 11 touch points, 7 hours, 4 locations. So if we don't build trust or we don't make trust the most important action to take, we're gonna run out of customers in time to come.
See, I think that's such an interesting thing, and I think you're right. As I was just waiting for the call, I this morning I'm thinking, why is it that everybody in the world is an expert? How come there are so many car crashes on AI where nothing really happens? Like it went just like this. 1 minute stuff even on social media was legit. The next minute, you can't tell legit for fake at all.
Yes.
You can't trust anything, and you can't trust anybody. People they scarcely are out of high school, and they're now wizards in financial stuff, in relationships, in therapy. Everybody, and I think this is brilliant. And I'm glad that like the trust index, and of course the Google thing, 11 touch points, 4 locations, 7 hours. And we think somehow, well, I'll see the guy 1 minute and we'll get it all done.
Yeah.
It takes relationship. And if you get that first deal, It seems that's really important to keep that going and build it. And that way you can get, and you were saying collaboration, or partnerships,
Yeah.
referrals, introductions, that sort of thing. All of this comes, I take it, from that trust. What can you do to build trust, though? What can you do?
Yes. So the core first principle, it's about increasing 11 touch points, right? And
Yeah.
of course, when you tell an advisor to keep in touch with their potential customers or their existing customers 11 times, they're gonna go like, Eric, you're crazy. Are you gonna ask me to text them every single morning to ask them what they have for breakfast? Is it to send them product information every other week? No, no. Of course, if you do that, then people are gonna block you. But that doesn't mean that we don't keep in touch. We just got to keep in touch in a very creative way. So, a book that I would highly recommend everyone to read is this book by Dr. Gary Chapman. It's an international best-selling book called The Five Language of Love. And he posits that human beings receive love in five different ways. Some of us receive love through words of affirmation. Some of us receive receive love through acts of service. Some of us receive love through what else? Physical touch. And then there is also gifts and quality time. So five, right? Now,
Yeah.
minus physical touch, you obviously do not want to keep in touch with your customers that way. So that leaves us with four
Yeah.
ways actually to keep in touch with our customers. So I'll be happy to send you a ChatGPT prompt and also a list of ideas. What I did was I actually got ChatGPT to analyze the industry, read a book, and then give us lots and lots of ideas on how we can spend quality time with our customers. How can we compliment and affirm our customers? How can we give them meaningful gifts? And do you know, doing a podcast and sending them a recording of your podcast, it's a very meaningful gift as well. So now, all they need to do is keep in touch with their customers once every month. So, in the month of January, April, and January, May, and then maybe another four more months, they will do acts of service. And then the month of February, and then June, and etc., they will do words of affirmation. So you make that
So
become
you
the
just
of your
split up
month.
the four across the year.
Yes. So I came up with a map. I'll send it to you as a
Yeah, yeah, that would
PowerPoint
be
deck for
terrific.
your
We'll hand it out.
listeners. Yeah. So it's very easy. Like, so for example, this month, we're hitting February right now, and February, it's all about quality time. So very good. So every single day you spend 1 hour of your time thinking, planning about how to make quality time with your customers, whether it's a phone call, a text, an email. So if they block time to build relationship, they will make time for it. The problem is we don't block time for that, but that's equally important. So that's
It's
how I
interesting you
would
say.
say trust. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really cool because you're talking about the five languages of love, and I know we had that discussion in Hungary. But it's interesting because one of the best agents in the entire world, the guy's spoken all over, including Singapore many times, is a guy named Bruce Etherington. And Bruce says his rule is you need to see the people and love them. And see the people and love them. And what he means is all those kinds of things you can do. And there's an old definition about love that I remember from university days back when I was just a kid. It says, a state of love exists when the safety, security, and satisfaction of another person means as much to you as yours does. But
Wow.
that's that love thing. And it's sort of ironic, but not that the love languages thing, which is supposed to be how you're supposed to get along with your wife or your date or your husband or whatever, it's actually very applicable to this. I think this is brilliant and
Yeah.
important. And it's the reason why I knew you had to be here today. The other thing was, there's one other guy here out of Canada, George Sigurdsson. And George is a guy whose rule is make 20 contacts with clients every day. So he has thousands of clients, but every day his rule is make 20 contacts. And for him, it's all text. He's not an email guy, but he'll make a phone call or he'll text. And it's the same sort of thing, but you can add other things, that quality time, maybe there are some gifts, maybe there's some words of affirmation that you can do. I think this is why I knew you had to be here, because I love this stuff.
And they will love it when they see those ideas and they see the prompt. And if they key in even like what type of customers they're serving, the prompt can give them a lot more quality ideas. And the best way to really get this point into the minds and hearts of our financial advisors listening to this podcast is to just tell them about dollar cost averaging, right? I mean, Jim, you teach that. Every advisor teach me that. What is called dollar cost averaging. It's like you never guess the market. You have no idea when the market's going to go up or when the market's going to go down. So what you want to do is to make regular investments so that in the long run, your investment ROI is always on the up. It's the same thing. You never know when a customer need to buy an insurance policy, right? You never know when someone told them about a health scare. You never know when they are suspecting that they might lose their job. You never know all this. So all you could do is just keep in touch with them meaningfully every month, which increases your chance of reaching them at a moment in their life where they need insurance. Dollar cost averaging too, just applied to
Yeah,
relationships.
I think I might have said this in Hungary because I just Eric, I'm so glad you took the time. Thank you.
No,
Because
I'm glad you do this. Yeah.
when I was talking and I say this, maybe I said it in Hungary. There's a guy, and maybe I did, but there's a guy in the United States for Verizon Mobile, and the deal was he used to walk around in different locations. You'd see this because it was all about coverage and could you get coverage for for your cell phone because there's gaps and holes. But it wasn't him. He would walk around with his cell phone. Here's my cosmic orange version, and he'd walk around and he'd go, "Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?" And it's that story. The guy's name, by the way, Paul Marcarelli. But anyhow, the interesting thing is it's all about can you hear me now? If you keep talking to them, you just like you said, you have no idea. Neighbor had a heart attack. Friend did something. Something happened. Like that's just brilliant, and it's so important for all of us to remember that our existing clients are our best sources of new business, new introductions, new referrals. Exactly,
Yes,
right? Yeah. Is there
exactly.
anything
Yeah.
else you can say about that we haven't talked
No,
about? I know we have limited time.
no, I think we covered it quite extensively. Yeah, I mean, if you want to add another layer to it, which is why we are on social media. I know sometimes it can be a drag to be able to create content, but here's something for all of you watching this. Okay, if you love to write, then be on LinkedIn. If you're comfortable being on video, then do Instagram or TikTok. If you love chatting, then do a podcast. Right? Either way, you have to write something or record something on topics that matters to you and your customers. So it may not necessarily always be about finance. It could be about relationships. It could be about romance. It could be about state of the world because we are human beings, we're not just into finance. So pick 2 to 3 topics that you're extremely interested in, that your customers are interested in, write about it, record videos about it, and then put it on social media. Why? Because when you are sleeping, your content is still working hard. That's how you can create the 11 touch points without you having to pick up the phone. Because every time you create a piece of content, it's like creating a mini Jim, creating a mini Eric that doesn't sleep and it keeps communicating, which is why I love what you're doing, Jim, because if our financial advisors listening to the podcast have interesting friends that they can interview, they ask interesting questions. Every single question and answer is a piece of content, which means 60 minutes of conversation is literally 60 pieces of micro content that they can put out on social media, right? So I think that's something for us, for the advisors to think about as well.
Yeah, I just can't. I'm so glad I started with that. And again, these are those 4 superpowers you talk about. And one of the other ones that we talk about is building your personal brand to attract new customers. I think is that second superpower.
Yes.
We hear about this sort of, but not all the time. I'm managing to screw up with my with my teleprompter, but talk to me. We hear about attracting or building a personal brand. That's a big part of what we talk about. Branding is everything. And what I was really impressed with as I started off today is your approach to this. It seems sensible, reasonable, honest, I think, which is really
Yeah.
important. So what is that personal brand? Talk a little bit about personal brand and how it would affect a financial advisor.
Well, in a nutshell, personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And so that means every one of us have a personal brand. It's just that whether
Like
you're
it
in
or not, yeah.
control of your personal brand and whether that
Control.
brand will help you bring business.
Yeah.
We're not in control. Most of us are not in control. We let people say whatever they want to say about us because we're not intentional in the way we show up online and offline. And that's why it leads to the exercise that I know we spent a whole breakfast talking about. And that is the mistake that people make about personal brand is to look at someone else who is very successful in the business and they try to model after them. The one thing that you cannot model, I know we can model success, but the one thing that we cannot model is our personal brand because you're supposed to be unique. You're supposed to be one of a kind, you know? So I have an exercise for every single one of you listening to this or watching this. Go back to your best customers. When I say best customers, they are customers that you love hanging out with. They are customers that spent a lot with you. They are customers that have referred you a tremendous amount of business. They're really like your dream customers. Go buy them a cup of coffee, get them on a meal, and you ask them this question. What is it about me that make you choose to do business with me? What is it about me that made you choose to do business with me? And you can ask a few follow-up questions like, what makes me different from other advisors out there? Or was there something I do or say, that make you go like, I am the best financial advisor in your opinion? So it doesn't matter what question you ask, whichever of the question I suggested, because it all leads to one place, and that is to find out what makes you special to that customer. And the cool part is, whatever that makes you feel special is what you're already naturally doing. You just do not know it. And therefore, by knowing what makes you special, you can now double down on that to attract more people who already appreciate you for who you are. Isn't that a beautiful love story? You can be yourself and you attract people who celebrate you. That will be the best kind of romance I think we can have with our customers.
I love the language. Romance you have, you kind of romance your clients and they kind of do it backwards, do it to you as well. What kind of things are you looking for? What do you think an
Got it.
advisor is looking for?
I would pay attention to probably four things, right? Number one, I'll look at traits. Traits are essentially your attributes, words that people use to describe you. For example, like in Jim's case, it would be he's funny, or maybe in my case would be I'm positive, optimistic, right? So words that describe you. Number two is feelings. Like what kind of feelings do you give people? Like for example, when I'm with Jim, I feel safe. Like Jim is one of the people that I know that will not judge me for who I am. And that is very important to me. So safety is an emotion. Or people, when they hang out with me, they feel like they can trust me and feel open. So that's a feeling. And then the next one is, what's your strength? What is something that you do or something that you offer that is very high value? So for example, maybe in Jim's case is that, Jim, your podcast, like you don't just teach us how to be wealthy, but you teach us how to be great human beings with high quality life. So therefore, that makes you special. Or maybe in Eric's case is, Eric, you're able to explain complex principles in a very simple way for us. You're like a bridge. So that is what makes you special. And then the last one is your value, your core value. Like, what is it that you believe in that created such commonality? Like in the case of me and Jim, obviously authenticity is a common value. If not, Jim, you would not have asked me the question you asked me, which is how do you make sure that the brand is real, right? Or learning that, I mean, it's amazing how, I mean, Jim, you could like literally go out there and enjoy life. You don't have to do this podcast. You made it already, but you're
I
still
only got up. I only got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's not really a thing. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you're right.
Right, but that's your value, that you value friendship, you value learning, and that's what I feel connect me to you.
Yeah.
So if we know these four things, traits, feelings, strengths, and the values that you have, it forms a description of who you are that makes you very attractive to your customers. Then all you need to do is double down on those things. And you will start, when I say double down, it means that
Yeah.
you communicate those things on social media, you communicate those things offline as well. And what I mean by communicate, right? So let's put one. Say for example, like Jim, if let's say your core value is learning. Like the reason why customers hang out with you is because they love learning with you. Then you want to make sure that you're always keeping in touch with them through insights that you have learned. Introduce people of value to them so that they can learn with you. Create content that's educational, right? So and notice that people didn't say that, oh, Jim, I like doing business with you because wow, you live a very luxurious life or you drive nice cars. Nobody ever talks about being attracted to you because of the cars you drive or the clothes that you have. So you could even wear a t-shirt, nobody's gonna care because that's not what made me like Jim. And we need
And
more
so,
of
so,
that.
and I'm really glad you said this because it's easy to say communicate, and then it could come off as bragging, even a humble brag, which I loathe even worse. But it's like to say, it's not that I want to tell you about how genuine I am and how I must. Oh, I'm a very genuine guy. I love it, but you demonstrate the trait, you demonstrate the
Yes.
feelings,
And
you
I got
make
two
sure
ways you
people.
can do that.
Yeah, there's two. Yeah, they feel they can feel those values, and they can
Yes, exactly.
and they can see your strength. But it's kind of like don't talk, just act.
Joe,
Make
and the way to show is by asking a follow-up question. So say, for example, let's try, okay, let's do a demo. Let's say, Jim, you're one of my top customers. So I'll ask Jim, I'll say, Jim, among all the speakers that you have met, right? I'm sure they're all very brilliant. What is it about me that makes me stand out from the rest of them?
you really connect with an audience. You've got like you have this authenticity. You're like real, and you help the audience learn something that they didn't understand, but you help them do it in a very friendly, kind of easy to take in kind of way.
Got it. So you gave me a lot of positive words. So let's pick the first one, which is I was able to connect very well with the audience, right? So
Yeah.
what did I do that day in Hungary that make you immediately conclude that, wow, Eric can really connect very well with the audience? What did I do?
Well, I think it's a style thing. You come on, you're smiling, you're happy. You're not that formal, but you're very serious about what you're doing. So it's not that it's this sort of thing. It's that it's like it's friendly, and I'm here to work with to help. We're here to help. I'm here to help you, and I get that helping thing out of you very very quickly.
There you go. See, do you realize that? So I ask you, the word that makes me very special to you is connect. But you help me make it very concrete by telling me that I'm smiling a lot, I'm happy, I'm informal in my style, and I use words like, let me see how I can help you. So suddenly, I just got to do more of the things that you just said. And then you will conclude that I'm extremely connect. I was able to connect with the audience. So focus on the things that I do. So that's what we could get the client to help us with, right? Which is asking them a follow-up question. The second way we can do that, right, is testimonials, which means that in future, when Jim, I want you to help me write a testimonial, I will be a little bit directive with you. I'll say, let's say I want to double down on telling people that I'm really good at connecting with people, let's say, right? I would tell Jim that, hey, Jim, when you are writing a testimonial for me, could you please write about how I have been very connecting with you? How have I been very emotionally connected to you? So I'm leading you to write a testimonial that reinforce that word that I want people to remember. So that's the second way as well that you can do.
Yeah, and it comes so out. It's after I've kind of explained what I meant by connection. I've talked to you about what that is, and then if you were to ask me later, say, well, that idea about connection and how I connected and how I made you feel, sort of in the kind of with me. Can you talk a little bit more about that? So that's directing, but not scripting testimonials, and that you're just keeping the testimonial on the track that is according to your brand.
You got it. Yes.
And I think this is huge. I don't think advisors do enough testimonials. I don't think they surely don't direct them. I think it's direction. It's not scripting. I think that's a big deal. And it's the same thing with me. Like I ask for testimonials on occasion, and I did some of that from meetings that I've done recently. And sometimes you get the most amazing things, and it's wonderful to do. But they were all based upon somebody made a comment. I said, gee, could you say that to me? Could you write that down?
Yeah.
Because I could really use that. And you can see them, by the way, if
Yes.
you want to, jimruta.com. There they are, testimonials.
There you go. Yeah.
I wish my mother was still alive. Her little boy actually survived. But that I think is tremendous and a great lesson for everyone, and something that branding is there's so much depth here, but it's not hard. And it's not about the logo. I keep thinking about people
No.
always think, well, it's the logo. Yes, you need a logo. Now I have a logo. I chose not to put it up behind me today. But and I'll wear I'm not. I'll have it on my shirt too when I when I go sometimes. But it's not the logo. And you said it at the beginning. Is what do people say about you? What do they think about you when you're not in the room? And all
Yeah.
of these things, this idea about the traits, the feelings, the strengths, the core values, and then getting to that is such a big deal. And I think what you said too about not modeling the brand, I can't be Eric. Eric can't be me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's someone,
Exactly.
I forget who said this many years ago. You could only be the best you can ever be. You can't be
Oh, wow.
can't be the
Nice.
best Eric, because Eric is that job's already taken. I can only be
Yes,
the best
exactly.
me that I can be. I can't be anybody else. And that's terrific. Now, and I appreciate that. And I know we're on time, so I'm watching here closely. As far as I have 19 minutes. So, like, something you talk about is the predictability of sales as a superpower. And I'm going, man, oh man, it's like you speak right to my audience, and
Oh.
in a way that they don't hear this very often. We just don't. We tend to be technical people. We tend to be, tax and orient. Like it's like your agent. I think you mentioned Steve. He looks at you and he says, "You know what? I'm going to pick you up. We're going to the doctor." It's like he was worried about Eric, not about anything else. And
Yeah.
so we have a habit of being technical. Steve was being very, very as a real amazed. By the way, that might have been a touch thing too, as far as it goes. Eric, come with me. We're going. We're going. But predictability of sales. What does it take to generate more quality customers on a regular basis?
Let's look at numbers. So, I mean, I would not know what's the number of people that let's use let's say a Hong Kong example, right? Because I remember citing the example one. So, like, let's say for example, this financial advisor wanted to achieve MDRT, right? And we already know what's the average case size in Hong Kong, right? It's about I think it's about 2,000 US dollars.
Okay.
So, and then for them to hit MDRT, we have calculated as well, they will need a total of 37 cases a year, right? Let's say that's the number. So we now know they need 37 cases a year. And then the next question we want to ask is, okay, what's your closing ratio? So if let's say the person tell me that, oh, Eric, my closing ratio is about 50%, right? That means out of two, I can close one. So if I need to close 37 cases, then I would need to make sure that I have 74 sales appointments. Then my next question is this. In order for you to have a sales appointment, usually you will need to have a social appointment first. That means you want to have an initial meeting with them. You want to do some fact finding. You want to assess whether this is going to be a quality customer. It's going to be a customer that you really can help. So then I asked the person, I said, okay, out of 10 people that maybe you have coffee with, how many of them would be willing to sit down to have a financial planning conversation with you? He said, out of 10, maybe I could have what, two? That means 20%. So now 20% means what? 74 times 5. I will need 370 social appointments a year. Then the next question. If I'm going to get you to text 10 people right now on social media or call 10 people or text 10 people on WhatsApp, how many of them will be willing to come out and drink coffee with you? He said maybe 30%. All right, that means 1 out of 3. All right, sorry, 3 out of 10. So that's times 3 again. So that means in order for him to hit a MDRT at his ratio, he needs to text 1,110 people a year. So I now ask him, I say, how many weeks do you work? He said, well, I work every week. So that's 52 weeks. So that's 21. So I asked him every week, how many days you work? He said, I work 5 days a week. So 21 divided by 5, it's 4, which means if every single day he texts 4 people to ask them for a coffee, and then at the coffee session, he talks about the appointment, he's going to hit his sales. It's not about whether you're motivated, you're driven, it doesn't matter. The question now is, do you have 4 people to text every single day? Now, if you have social media and you create content, then congratulations, because your content will help you reach new audience. You have 4 people to text. Or could be that your existing customers, if each of them can get you one new friend, you have more people you can text. So all I need to do now is every morning when I wake up, I just got to make sure I got 4 new people to text. That's it. It can come from referral, it can come from social media, it can come from an event. Now, if I go to a conference, like recently I just came back from a conference and I make 10 friends, then congratulations, I have done the work for 2.5 days. You get what I mean? So we don't have to complicate this business. We just got to calculate our numbers. So I told that guy, the guy is very simple. He just needs four appointments, 4 texts every day. And the best part is I don't need all of them to say yes to you. Because out of all the people that you text, let me check. Times 5 again, times 52. Divide by 3. There. See, so 370 divide by 52, divide by 5. That's amazing. See, it's 1. So what it means, right, is every day he texts 4 people. He just need one of them to say yes to meeting him for coffee. He's done. So Jim, that's pretty.
Eric, one of the things I just all of a sudden remember about what you were talking about, and a couple of times we had meetings in Hungary, is that
Yes.
you found a way, like the social media rules and the rules that you understand, that you've watched and observed and researched and created, are the kind of the things that we've always talked about, but people forgot. You make it sound like fun. Used to be we have to make phone calls, because that's the only way you get to people. The texting sounds easier. Now, by the way, there's scripting for texts and everything else. I get all that, but that's something for another time. I can help with that. That's not a problem. But what you have done is, we always said this is about the numbers. It's about the activity. It's about doing the things that lead to sales, not about the sales. You can't necessarily go out and get a sale, but you can meet 10 friends at a conference, like you just said. You can maybe get a couple of leads off of social media. You can get the odd introduction or referral from a client. And now you have people to talk about, not about buying, but those. And I love the line, you have social meetings before you have sales meetings. And I mean, this is all very traditional, but in non-traditional language. And it's why I think it's so valuable. Because, this is like, I see you're like an old soul in the life insurance business, but with a new heart. Well, and apparently you and I could both use a new heart. Because that's where my problem is, pal. My cardiologist talks to me every year. Well, Jim, you ought to. Yeah. I'll be here until God wants me to be gone, and not a minute later, or less. But this is such a key point out of a branding social media expert that has to do with sales. Predictability of sales comes from making the contacts rather. To a social meeting to see whether you and I get along, like you and I got along like that. And you say, well, and by the way, what if I didn't get along like that? Then you don't talk to those people. They won't talk to you anyway. You don't, you go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated.
Exactly.
And you'll find who you can get along with. Well, one of my good friends and a client of mine for many years, Van Miller, does 1,000 cases a year, 1,000. And he'll do a lot of sales on a first interview. Very simple stuff, very high end, but very simple. And people say, how could you possibly how could you make a sale on one interview? He says, it's easy. Do you ever meet anybody where just as soon as you meet them, you get along like best pals, like automatically? Yep. So those are the people. Predictability of sales is absolutely such a key part. Let's keep going, because I want to talk here about, I think, your last superpower, which is about attracting and collaborating with partners. To me, this is the key to being a successful specialist, but still provide complete service. I'm interested in more detail about how you can access new markets this way. What that means, partnerships, a collaboration. What are you getting at with that superpower?
Got it. Let me first bring us up to a high level. That people don't care about what you know unless you first show them how much you care. We hear about this principle a lot, right? So, say for example, let's talk about Jim. Jim, let's use you as an example, right? Tell me a little bit more about the kind of customers that you serve.
I work a lot with real caring, compliant life insurance professionals who want to help families and businesses, create better legacies, protect their lifestyles. People who love people are people that I love working with.
Very good. So let's look. So very good. So you're serving life financial advisors, right? Okay,
Yes.
who are very family oriented. Now, who do you think would love to do business with these financial advisors as well?
Well, there's a lot of, I mean, look, a lot of professionals around that. Like there's lawyers, family law lawyers that would do that, estate lawyers, that sort of thing. Accountants who can handle those kinds of people who enjoy that kind of market. There's real estate agents that love that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of even, maybe even service providers, because the people I'm working with are quality people. They're just, it matters to them how their life is and what goes on. So and they're fun, they're good to work with. So there's lots of, I think, professionals like that, investment people. Again, when I mentioned specialists, I think that life insurance is its own specialty. I think the estate
Yeah.
thing, now it's different. Singapore, Hong Kong, a little bit different. Hungary is very different. So I'm going to Cyprus this afternoon, in fact, and it's different there. But it's this is it's really an important part of the business as far as these people are. They're family oriented. They love you. They talk about love before. They love their families. They love their businesses. They love their employees. I'm probably
Mm.
meandering here now, but does that help?
No, so that's what I'm talking about. So I'm saying that are you able to build a community of
Yeah.
all these specialists so that they can come together to do business together? That's a marketplace. So Casey, we're taking you up next level where you're thinking about how can I bring all these amazing specialists together? And imagine now you bring lawyers together, trust funds people together, investors together, other service professionals, and then of course the insurance people together. Together as a community, what do you think they can do?
Yeah, you become your own little referral network. Everything kind of works together. Everybody's helping everybody. You can provide. It's funny as you're talking. I'm thinking about there's like almost like a family level, um, a family office. That family office is usually at a very high level. But you could be in a middle market because you can bring middle market people together to help the middle market. And that means I can be my specialty, you can be your specialty, but together we can provide the highest level of service for
Exactly. So you see,
anybody gets.
for them, right? But now you
Yeah.
think, so we don't just want to add value by giving them referrals, right? Allowing them referrals. What else do you think all these specialists need? Regardless of whether it's an insurance specialist or the other specialists, what else would they need in life or in business?
Um, well, I mean, besides life insurance, but I mean, look, I think they need colleagues, people to talk to. I think that opportunity to get together, that like a networking, that network collaboration thing. I think it's very helpful for all of us to get together and know about the whole world and bring that to our own specialty.
Fantastic. And that's called partnership. So partnership is where you're thinking about how can I solve everybody's problem by bringing them together. So now you see that you can come up with a network where you allow all of them to collaborate and partner. But we also know that the state of the world is pretty chaotic. So they're also thinking about how they can navigate in the AI world. So are you able to bring some of your friends who can teach them how to navigate this business world? Are you able to bring friends that can add value to all of them? So this network just keep growing. And when this network grow, your partners are going to keep bringing financial advisors in. So there are more customers for you. And financial advisors want to continue coming in because they get to network with these partners to add more value to the business. That's one form of partnership. Now, another form of partnership is your current customers, which is the insurance advisors, are all going after families. So can we find a way to build a family community so that now all the financial advisors want to be friends with Jim Ruta because Jim Ruta take cares of a network of leads that will be good for them. So Jim can now also work on a family network. That means that can you do something that will bring families together? Can you see what I'm talking about? So you are playing a higher level so that suddenly you have value. You know, there's a leader who told me this. He said that Eric, the most valuable leaders, right, are the one that can provide food for their people. Not the food that you eat on the table, but customers. So imagine now you are a trainer, right? Sure, you are providing them with education and positivity. But what if one day you can also provide them with customers? What if one day you can also provide them with partners that can allow them to sell higher ticket items? You can partner, you allow them to get to know more families so they got more customers. Do you think they will always only want to do business with Jim Ruta? The answer is yes. So you have two networks that suddenly elevate your value. So that's the
See,
fourth power.
this is extraordinary to me. And I'm, you can tell because I'm starting to mumble and meander. But it's extraordinary to me because what you're talking about is to create some, I want to say formal structures in your organization that don't seem to be sales related, but are
Yeah.
related to that first part of the social stuff, to getting the people to talk to. So you can create a professional network, a formal structure that you kind of manage and you handle. So if I'm an advisor, I create that
Yes.
formal professional structure, service provider structure, but I can also create a structure of good families and do things for families and create or the business owners or professionals or whatever but in a client setting, and all of a sudden I'm doing
Exactly.
something. And you're right, great leaders do provide food. This is sort of what happened with Christ, on the Sea of Galilee, loaves and fishes. I mean, it's a lot
Yes.
about that. It's a lot about being able to provide that. And I think this takes the advisor's business to a whole different level. It changes the
I can
game
agree.
because now you can absolutely find a way to attract the right people and do that collaboration. That fourth superpower is huge. Now, a couple of quick things. We've only got 3 minutes left. I know in your schedule. A couple of quick things, if I can. Shyness is a problem many of us have had to overcome, including me. Can you talk a little bit about shyness and how you overcome that if you have that problem?
I think the reason why we are shy is because we are focusing too much attention on ourselves. We're shining the spotlight on ourselves. So I would ask you to worry bigger. Don't worry about what people think about you. Worry bigger that if you don't serve them, what bad things could happen to your customers. Like today, because you don't go out there and talk to them about insurance policies, they are at risk. Or you don't go out there and educate them on the investment product, they got scammed by other people. Worry bigger. Worry that you're not helping others. So when you put their attention on them and focus on how they can benefit from being with you, then you're not going to be that nervous. And even if they say shit about you, which people will anyway, you
Yeah.
know from the bottom of your heart that you're coming from a place of goodness. And as long as you know that you're coming from a place of goodness, you're not selling. Because I know we don't like the word selling because it feels like we're taking money away. So change the way we look at things. Ask yourself, how are you helping them every single time you're texting them, emailing them? How are you helping them whenever you're talking about your products or your services? How are you helping them? When you think that way, and when you keep reading the positive testimonials of how people have benefited from you, keep that in your mind. You would have a lot of moral courage, and conviction to go there and say, you know what, you may say no to me, but I still stand by what I say. It's either your conviction is higher than their objection, or their objection is higher than your conviction. So if your conviction, if their objection is stronger than your conviction, then you lose the sale. But if your conviction is higher than their objection, then congratulations, you win the sale and you help someone.
See, it's funny you say this. I remember, I was a 21-year-old agent when I started, 21 years old, scared to death about the whole thing for lots of reasons. But I remember thinking one day, I used to go to life underwriters meetings, agent meetings. I look around the room and I think, oh my God, if I don't help my friends, these clowns are going to be talking to the people that I love. That can't happen. And it was
There you
funny, but
go.
But it was exactly according to what you're saying. If you don't help,
Yeah.
if you're a good person, you've got that moral conviction about what you do. If you don't help them, somebody else will. Somebody will scam them. Somebody could hurt them unless you stand up. And I think that's brilliant. Let's quickly, one last thing, if I can get it in. You talk about going from being a nobody to a celebrity to being a somebody. How do we become known for who we really are? Can you put it in a few words?
How can we be known for what we do? I think number one is mastery. You got to really, really be good at what you do. So good that the world cannot ignore you. So that's one. Number two is magnification. You got to put yourself on a platform that can amplify you. For example, social media. For example, being part of a network that can promote you. Putting yourself in media like podcasts that can promote you. That's amplification. So if you have mastery and you have magnification, then, well, congratulations. Um, One more, and you need to have mission as well, because in your journey towards mastery and magnification, there are going to be a lot of challenges to test you. And until you have a very big mission of why you want to do what you do, you're probably going to give up very soon. But with mission, you would stick your guns all the way to the end, and that's how you become not just a well-known person, but well-loved, well-respected, and someone that can really make a difference in this world.
Um, Brilliant. It's amazing.
Thank you so
Honestly,
much, David.
I look at this and I think about, we didn't have a lot of time. I understand that. I'm not complaining about that. In fact, you told me at the beginning, look, I'm just going to get to the point. And this has turned out to be the best 50 minutes we've done at all, period. You were
We'll do
awesome.
more, right? This is not the end, man. We'll do more. Yeah, this is just one. We just get started.
How about, is there one last piece of advice you'd leave with advisors that could make a difference, like right now?
Let me think. One piece of advice. I would invite them this year, whichever year they're listening to their podcast, to spend more time knowing who they are, knowing their values, knowing their purpose that they want in life, knowing their strengths, and lean into those things, because that's really what's going to help them succeed in a world that's getting more and more competitive, in a world that is craving for more and more authenticity. What's going to give us lasting power is this one word called alignment. That means everything that we do in this business have to be aligned to our values, our passion, our mission, and what we really want to show up in this world. And if we can do that, we're going to have a very bright future in this world.
Awesome. Thank you again, Eric. I know you're crazy busy.
Thank you so much,
this has been so amazingly valuable. We're truly blessed to have been with you today. So that was SOLIS 47.
Yeah, I wish I could see you.
Yeah, and we'll see you
one day.
Sure we're going to be running into you soon. This is number one in the new SOLIS podcast program. Check out JimRuta.com for more information on SOLIS 2.0. I know you'll like it. And the special bonus we're giving to existing members. Remember to subscribe to my new Substack. I'm on Substack, jimruta.substack.com. Get all sorts of new materials and ideas. All of that. There's a paywall, but most of it's free, and you can get it at jimruta.substack.com to join. See you all at our new group session Friday the 27th for a new approach to our usual coaching session. I know you'll love that. It'll pick up stuff just like this that we got from Eric today, starting in February. And by the way, our coaching sessions will start this month, scheduling at the last Friday of the month. So thank you very much. Hope you had a great history-making start to the new year. Here's to booking more meetings and closing more deals. Thank you very much, my friend. God bless you. Good to see you.
God bless you too, Jim.
We'll talk to you real soon. Be well. God bless. Take care. See you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.